as the pandemic makes a horrifying comeback across the Sun Belt, we need to circle back to the kind of stocks that worked during the first big outbreak in March and April. For example, with states gradually going back into lockdown, the packaged food plays, they're back. Now, just today, we got results from General Mills, an iconic household name and a member of the Kramer COVID-19 Index. The company posted a great quarter with a resounding top and bottom line beat, 21% sales growth. But because management was a bit circumspect about the future, who wouldn't be, and didn't bring as much to the sales down to the bottom line, well, the stock got dinged a bit, just a hair. Well, was that a mistake? Let's dig deeper with Jeff Harmening. He's the chairman and CEO of General Mills. To learn more about the quarter and his company's prospects. Jeff, welcome to Mad Money.
Thanks for having me. We really enjoy being here.
All right, so Jeff, I'm telling you, I follow your company for, 30 years. I want to do a do-over here. I think anybody that gains or holds share in 9 out of 10 of their products, who accelerates organic sales, who I think has come through and be able to produce everything without any supply chain problems, is a hero, and the stock is inexpensive. So I'm giving it to you to say, tell me that I'm wrong.
Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. We had a good year going into the fourth quarter, going into the pandemic, especially on our North America retail business and Blue Buffalo, which our pet food business, which we were growing at double digits. And obviously, during the last 3 months, our business really accelerated through strong execution. As you say, 9 out of 10 categories of share growth in the U.S., all of our categories growing share in Europe, 6 out of 7 categories growing share in Brazil. So it was a really good quarter, built on the back of 3 good quarters before that.
Well, Jeff, also, I know that you had balance sheet concerns at one point, that you had to address. Your operating cash flow, which I don't think anyone focused on the call, was magnificent, and your leverage is so much better than it was a couple of years ago.
That's the thing I think I'm most proud of that I'm not sure people fully appreciate. We tried to get to a net debt to EBITDA ratio of 3.5 times by the end of this year. We got all the way down to 3.2 times net debt to EBITDA, which brings us that much closer to get back to our normal capital allocation. And then our first priority there, when we get to 3 times net debt to EBITDA, will be growing our dividend again. And so it really is a big deal. Yes, our earnings were good, but our cash flow was even better than our earnings, and we're really proud of that.
Right. I mean, because I always regard you as the ultimate dividend growth stock, and I think it's going to come back, and you're now in position to do that. Let's talk about something else that I thought was magnificent. Blue. This was an acquisition that initially people say, well, maybe it was an overpay. But you have 13.3% household penetration. You've got all channels going. We buy it through Chewy. But this has turned into an acquisition that is really taking share from a lot of other companies.
It's been a great acquisition for General Mills, and it's been a great acquisition for our shareholders and all the pet parents. And Blue Buffalo is everything we thought it would be. We've grown at double digits 2 years in a row, including 18% organic sales growth this year. We are growing share in the business, and we've got some great innovation lined up for next year. And so people treat their pets like family, and we've been feeding food to families for 150 years, and now we're just feeding them to furry members of the family. And so Blue Buffalo is everything we thought it would be 2 years ago when we bought the business. When
people are at home, they do 2 things. They have breakfast at home. They have cereal. It means they have Cheerios or something like it. And it means suddenly that they cook. Betty Crocker in Pillsbury. So both breakfast and dinner are growing nicely.
Yeah, they're going really well. This year was our 3rd consecutive year of sales growth in breakfast cereal. This last quarter, cereal grew 26%. And so we've had a good run on cereal and even a better run this last quarter. As you say, people have rediscovered that the kitchen is the heart of the home, and that's good news for Betty Crocker and Pillsbury. We have 2 of the top 5 food websites in the U.S. and traffic on those is up 100% as people are trying to figure out what to do with these new products they have in their houses. So it's been a really good run for our baking and our meals business this last quarter.
So talk to me about just in general. I mean, for instance, Canada had been a drag. Talk about some international, because it looks like the international was another thing that I think people were getting upset about. Now it's pretty good.
It is good, especially our business in Europe turned around in the fourth quarter. We were the 3rd fastest growing CPG company in food in Europe during the quarter. We grew on our yogurt business. We grew share on our bars business, Old El Paso and Haagen-Dazs, double digits. And in Brazil, we also grew double digits in the last quarter. And so it's been a really good business. The only parts of our business that struggled in the fourth quarter were some of our food service business, both here in the U.S. and and in China. But even there in the U.S., we took share. And so while we were down 28% in our food service business, the sector as a whole was down far more than that. So we competed really effectively even there.
Yep, all of these are good, and but we got to go over something else. At the top of your call, you did something that no one else has done. You mentioned the name George Floyd. You mentioned George Floyd's name twice. You mentioned Black Lives Matter, not just that we have to help minorities. Now, you are from Minneapolis. We all read these stories. These are stories of tragedy and stories of import. What is General Mills' role in Minneapolis and around the country and the world to try to make things better?
Well, General Mills does have a role, and we obviously can't do it by ourselves, and we can't address racism by ourselves. Neither can business in general. It has to be a combination of business working with politicians or working with the community altogether. General Mills has been doing that for decades here in the Twin Cities. We sponsor the MLK breakfast every year for the last 30 years. And so we're proud of what we have done. But if you look at the education gaps or the police reform that's needed or healthcare gaps, it's clear that we have a lot more to do. And as a company, the strongest thing we have going for it is our culture of inclusion. And that's the reason why we've done so well this last quarter and this last year, is because we get the best ideas from everybody, and everybody has a seat at the table. If you look at our board, if you look at our senior leadership team, it's a very diverse group, and we really value that. And so the recent events in Minneapolis have been really tough. And now is the time to step up and act. And we think that we need to be part of the solution along with others.
And it's not just acting. Obviously, there's been tremendous food shortages because we're in a terrible recession. People need food. And General Mills answers the call.
We did. We donated $10 million worth of cash and in-kind product donations in the last quarter of this year. And when you come to a pandemic, you really need to take care of all your stakeholders. And so we've taken care of our employees. We've kept them safe. We've taken care of the community by responding to acts of racism as well as food insecurity. And we've taken care of our shareholders with good results. And I think those things all work hand in hand.
So, well, look, I just got to commend you. I think people need to know this from your successor and for many years. General Mills has always been one of the most charitable companies. And everyone knows Minneapolis. I remember a piece in the Times. What is it with Minneapolis that all the companies always care? General Mills has always cared, and you're a great steward of that, Jeff. Great to see you again. Thank you so much. And we've had great leadership here in the Twin Cities for a long time. And thanks for having me on your show. You sure have. That's Jeff Harmening. Hey, listen, he's chairman and CEO of General Mills. It's very rare that you get a chance to buy this stock when it's down. And when it is, you take it. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.